Hello, family, and welcome. Before we start, I wanted to share with you on my website, Purpose Counseling and Wellness Center. This is, it says here, for therapy, you feel like falling apart? Let us help you find missing pieces in your life. Purpose Counseling and Wellness Center provides a variety of therapeutic counseling services geared towards helping individuals, families, communities. Our goal is to assist individuals holistically through our transpersonal counseling psychological services. This is my private practice, you guys. And right now it's up and rolling. I provide telehealth services. So if you all are interested, please do so and contact me. But this is definitely the counseling center. It's definitely available through telehealth. I have people ask me if it's available because of COVID-19. It's definitely available. So you can check out my website and you know there's a way to contact me there. So I just wanted to let you all know because I've been getting people emailing me and asking me about my holistic counseling center. I use a transpersonal counseling method as far as my counseling services, especially for our American Aboriginal families. So if you're interested, please reach out. I just wanted to let you all know that this is the website and this is the link to it if you want to check me out. And I want to also swing you over here. I'm also on Psychology Today. The Purpose Counseling and Wellness Center is also here as well. And I also, if you don't have insurance, I also have a payment plan. I'm willing to work with people. So people are struggling right now. So I just want to let you know that I have my counseling and life coaching. I do that as well. So you can hit me up. So let's get back over here, you guys. I wanted to talk about this particular article. I got this article from Tanjan, this one, from one of his videos. He talked about, it's not really an article, it's a book. And this book is amazing. It's not really a thorough, a long, full length book. It's more like an outline, giving different details, and I guess it's not really details, fun facts that we should know about as American Aboriginals. And the title of this is 103 Amazing Facts About the Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere Outlined. And it's written by Kenyan. So I'm going to stroll on down. This is just pretty much giving you an interview and an overview of what this particular book is about. And here's the introduction. And he's explaining himself in this introduction. Let me see how long it is. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to go through all that. He just pretty much explained his childhood, and explain his background. But if you all want to read that, I will definitely, put a link to this. But it's a wonderful read. I wanted to stroll down to some of the fun facts that he was talking about in this book, which is interesting. I love this quote that he has. He says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. Thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the laws of thy God. I will also forget thy children, And that's Hosea. I believe he pulled that from Hosea 4:6 from the Bible. Well, we can stroll on down. It says here, let's see. We're not going to go through all 103, of course, in this particular video because it'll take a very, very long time for us to finish it. But I do want to touch on some of these. We'll probably do the first 5 to 10, depending on how long we take. But let's get started. It says here, Number one, Black Indians have lived in the Western Hemisphere since the immoral time, since the beginning of time, pretty much, beginning of humanity. Yeah. Immemorial, in other words. Um, I think that's true. Me personally, I agree with this particular author. I believe that we were always here. I believe that the slave story of bringing us on ships is a myth. I think it was created as a way for the Greys, the Caucasians, to justify stealing land that's not rightfully theirs. That's not, and I agree with that. And number two is Black Indians were not spawned or created as a result of Africans coming to the Western Hemisphere due to the transatlantic slave trade, mixing in with Native people of the Western Hemisphere region, also known as Native American Indians. I agree with that too, because I believe that we were already over here, and I agree with this author 100%. Now, when I downloaded this article, I went to Amazon. I saw a lot of the comments from some of the readers. There were some who wanted to discredit him immediately. This Kenyan who wrote this particular book and said that it's not backed with references. And the thing about that is he's writing this book from his opinion and also from his based according to his family lineage, and we have a right to do so. And I sort of feel like it's not right. It's like a lot of people don't want you, especially Caucasians are, and the natives, of course, because they want to keep this narrative going that they were the original people when they weren't. They were the second wave that came through. And to steal our identity and to make it look like we weren't here is wrong. And they have tons of books written by themselves that does not have any type of references at all in any of their books. They based it solely on their on what their family had documented, from generation to generation. And I feel like as Aboriginals, we have indigenous stories too that's been passed down, and we have a right to share our story just like anyone else. And so to just discredit someone because they are sharing their story is wrong. We have stories too. I know that for hundreds and thousands, no, hundreds of years, I, for especially in this country, in the United States, the narrative of the pen has always been with the Caucasians. But it's time for us to start speaking and writing our stories too. His story is his story of the Caucasians, of the Greys. But now it's time to have multiple stories from everyone or other people besides just one narrative. We have stories too. And also the natives who have sitting up there writing their narratives. There's no references in their books. A lot of books I've came across written by so-called natives or the mixed breed that they not 10 generations down claiming claim to have Indian blood, but 10 generations down. We and I know that they're Caucasian because they're mostly Caucasian, but the $5 Indians, in other words. They have countless books out there. They don't have references either, but they don't want us discrediting them, but they want to discredit us when we don't have it because we're writing from stories from our family. And I think this is great. This author has a right to also share his story as well. And I think he did a brilliant job. He probably could have made it even better by supporting it with references. And because there are some references out there, but there are definitely some references out there, and he could have put it in a book. And I think maybe that would probably made it more like supported through a scholarly journal, more scholarly journal basis. People who are in, I guess, higher learning, such as colleges and universities, probably will accept it more. But I've seen stories written by people about their family, coming from a family, biographies and stuff like that, coming and autobiographies from the persons from their own point of view. A lot of not going to have references based on their own opinion. And he has a right to write that as well. So that was on my mind, and I wanted to share that thought. But let's continue. It says, no, number 3, natives are indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, also known as Indians, did not refer to themselves or their ancestors as Indians. We use the word Indian since most people are accustomed to the title. The word Indian, red man, and Native Americans are European colonized terms. Exactly, I agree. From my research, that also supports that as well, that theory. It says natives or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere refer to themselves by way of tones, vibrations of expression. Your spirit said, and what you were, the name given to you was based upon what the type of spirit you possess. And that's traditions. We sort of steered away from it in a way, instead of using it as real. No, I won't say that, because I seen I had to take that back. Aborigines are still doing that. American Aborigines, aka African Americans, are still doing that, because I've seen people name their child according to spirit. Like, for example, I named my daughter Autumn, based on the season. I've seen people name their child different names. I've seen someone name their child Sage, or but I've seen it, and people are still doing it today. They're still doing it today. So I think that's a tradition that's been carried on still. And the birth names of our children, and also with nicknames. I've seen it a lot with nicknames. People use nicknames to describe themselves. So that's a tradition, I believe, that's still carried on, that we still do. We just do it in our own way. But number 4 is all natives and indigenous people of Western Hemisphere, aka African Indians, possess different physiological features, hair textures, bone structures, and skin tone vary. I agree with that too. I wanted to share with you all this artwork. I'm gonna pull this up. I pulled this from a blog. Y'all might want to check this article, this particular video that I've done, called "How to Tap into Your American Aboriginal Indigenous Roots." It's a short outline too. I did an outline, and I also did a video on it. Y'all didn't miss that. You can check that out on my YouTube video. But this is my blog, purposeblogspot.com. So y'all may want to check that out as well. So I'm trying to make sure y'all know where to find me. But this is one of the pictures, the artworks that's on one of the European cathedrals or churches that they have in Europe. They're scattered all over the place, and it tells this true story. It depicts exactly what they saw when they first got here into the Americas, and this is who they saw, and this is quite evident. And it's prior. Some of these artworks is prior to around the 1600s, when they first started coming over, before it started being gray washed. Because the new Indians that they had that looks mixed and looks more European, Caucasian, were painted like mostly during the 17 and 1800s, and during the time when they were trying to take over and steal the land from the Aboriginals, and hoard resources. So we're going to stroll down. I'm going to show you. Let me see. This is the website right here to these pictures and I'm so glad they started an association where they took pictures of these artworks. And I think this is something that we all need to be doing. I'm starting a nonprofit organization, you guys, myself, because I wanted, not by myself, but I know I'm going to need a team. To do and gather more research here in the United States, because we need to start preserving our culture and our identity and going around taking pictures, because that's something that we need to do. you know, for ourselves, for our people. And I'm glad that they went over to Europe to take these photos, you know, and to publish them in these amazing books. I just like, this is just so amazing. And it's like documentation of what they saw, the Europeans actually saw, and more supportive evidence that we were already over here. And this is what they actually saw. They, you know, didn't bring us over in no boats. This is just amazing. And so y'all can check these out. And it shows the phenotypes right here. You know, all the phenotypes, you know, the different hair textures and everything. You can see that not one Indian all look alike. You know, they didn't, all of them were dark skinned, you know. Some had woven hair, some had afros. Let me see if I can pull up. And here it is right here. These are the older images right here, showing what they look like. They look like us. So it's called The Allegory of the Continents, you know, right here. And they just published these pictures. Let me see if I can pull up any of them. Now, my computer been freezing up sometimes when I have too many windows open. But not freezing up, it's the internet that's been freezing up. So let me see if I can pull it open. Let me see if it'll pull up. I don't think it's gonna do it. Okay, there it is. I want to give y'all an up close picture. See how they look? They had look at their features. You see different skin tones. This is like us today. I was trying to show more. Oh, let's see if I can go back. No, it didn't. Let's go back again. It took me completely out. Okay, but this picture here alone that I have on my blog, you can see that he has, let's see if I can pull him up closer. It just brought me back to this page. I'm trying to show you some of them up close, but I'm pretty sure some of you all already seen these photos before. And you can see these pictures up close and personal. See? And you see the hairstyles, you know? And you see the afro right here. You see the afro right here. This is what they saw when they got over here. Okay? And supportive evidence right here. And it's all over the European walls and their churches and cathedrals, and they don't want us to see this. But this is the actual truth. See? And this is what this author was talking about when we go back over here. It says here, all natives or indigenous peoples of the hemisphere, aka Indians, possess different physiological features, hair textures, bone structures, and skin tones vary, and they are the copper-colored races. Nowhere does it say Caucasian or pale skin or, white or peach colored. They were all copper color, and copper color are different spectrums of the brown's complexion, which is us. And then let's see, on number 5, it says all native or indigenous people of Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, did not and do not have high cheekbones, slanted eyes, reddish copper skin, or straight hair. So, and that's what the myth is all about. It's been all over. You can see this right here in this artwork, these ancient artworks that goes even further back prior to the Europeans coming here right when they first started. This is what they saw, and they drew it correctly. And then after that, when they wanted to steal the identity of the indigenous people, that's when they start changing over to fit their narrative. But these are the actual what they look like, and they look like us, And so Let's go back over here, and you see now everybody has slanted eyes. This is the Hollywood version of what they want you to believe. That's why they constantly flood the media with these images to keep the narrative going. And so also, we'll go on down to 10. It says all natives or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere did not have living teepees and pueblos. And that's true. Especially on the East Coast, the woodland Indians, a lot of them, that's, actually have villages. I've done some research on that. Y'all may want to check out some of my videos about the indigenous tribes. I also talked about the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies is when they first got here and were exploiting the indigenous aborigines over here. And they described the people with having these villages and farms. And the Grays, when they got over here, they didn't know how to do anything. So instead of trying to learn, they learned but instilled that knowledge, the wisdom of the indigenous people. And they also had guns, and they were using it against them to steal their land and properties from these people. And the indigenous people did not have that concept that you own the land. It's shared by everyone, and that's how it should be. But Caucasians in their selfish mindset, they believe that everybody, they believe in individualization. Everything is individualized, and if each person have a right to own pieces of it. And, the indigenous people believe in sharing among and working together to get things done. And I think that's why it's very difficult for a lot of us, because we're being Americanized or Europeanized by the colonizers, to believe that being an individual is more important than working as a collective. And that's why it's hard for us to actually get things done. I'm going to do a video on that as well, and elaborate more about working as a collective, developing our skills, our indigenous skills of working together as a collective, as opposed to folks being fixated on the individual identity of, working as one. You get more done when you work together than when you work alone. And I think if we can learn to do that, channel our money and resources together as indigenous people, we can make a huge difference. But I can go on. That's a whole nother topic. Let's go on to number 7. Number 7 says it's difficult for society to accept Black Indians being native or indigenous to the Western Hemisphere region because the society have been brainwashed with fabricated false images of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians. Exactly. If Hollywood is constantly flooding the media with gray-looking Indians and half-breed Indians, the mixed Indians that's more pale than dark and don't have none of the Negro features, it's going to look like that. It's going to be that way because that's all they're doing is flooding the media with their images, and that's how they do it. And even though there's documentation and proof that the indigenous people were actually Black. I want to share something else with you. I'm going to bring y'all over here because I went to eBay, and hopefully y'all can still hear me. It's still loading up. For some reason, it's not loading. Let's refresh and see if it'll load up. Well, like I said, I think the internet is acting up. Okay, let's go back over here, you guys. It's not going to load up. Let's see if it will later. Or I might have to share it with y'all on another video. I think I have too many windows open. But I was sharing, there's some dolls. Let me see if it pulled up. No, it did not. Let's go back. Okay, it's not gonna pull up. On eBay, I'm just gonna let y'all know. eBay has some pictures of some dolls, Indian dolls. I had it up for some reason, not loading on the computer. I had it up for you all, so I'm going to show it to you, but it's not showing now. But these dolls, the older dolls, a lot of them had the darker skin with woven hair with afros, and they were showing them as being the Indians, American Aboriginals. And it's just like fairly recent when they started changing and making these parallel looking dolls, trying to make them look more Caucasian and more mongoloid. To and they just started doing it so they can keep the narrative going even longer to try to still to continue to graywash the identity of their true Negro Indians. That's pretty much what they did. But I wanted to share that with y'all. Fortunate. Oh, here it is. This is what I want to show you all. I want to show you these dolls. See? Right here. The Ojibwa craft native dolls. Let me let you see this up close. This is an American Aborigine doll. Let's see if it'll open. Y'all can see the afro. Don't know if it's going to open up. There it go. The computer's going slow. Ojibwa crafts native dolls. And see, this is what I'm seeing right here. And it even has the back of the dolls. See, these dolls depict what the indigenous people actually look like. Look at that dark skin. There go the afro. And see? You see? It says here. And it shows the Indian tribe, that the Aboriginal tribe that actually did these dolls. And see right here. And they put them in their own image. See? Look at that. Look at the poofy hair. Look at the Negro features. See what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about. They got more dolls like that, And then there's one right here, but I don't like this doll. This doll right here has locks. It's not a very pretty doll, but but it has locks. Some of the dolls have locks to it, Since my computer's going slow, I'm not going to pull it up. But yeah, I can check some of these dolls out. And that's what I'm saying. They darker complexion looking dolls. And so, and these are what they look like. And there's some more. Okay? Darker complexion Aboriginal dolls. And here goes some more. That Ojibwa tribe. And they show them in different shades. But like I said, they started not making these dolls because they're trying to hide the fact that we were already over here, and they want to make them look paler so they can justify everything. And, but it's part of our history and our culture as well. But anyway, I was just showing you some of the dolls and stuff. I was just sort of fascinated with that the other day when I pulled it up. But anyway, and that's what I'm talking about with the fake images and stuff. And that if y'all looked at the commercials on TV, that's all they put up. But it says right here, and this author's right and correct about it. Number 8, most reservation Indians were carefully selected by the U.S. government to occupy reservations when reservations were being established. Exactly, they were. And what they were doing, and I think, too, that's why I think that me personally, what I believe is when they were trying to select these Indians into reservations, around the same time that that Dawes Commission was also out and allowing the $5 Indians to come in and steal Indian land, Aboriginal land, and give it to them. And they still do it to today through gentrification. Gentrification is another example of how they're still to this very day, Aboriginal lands and properties for themselves and hoarding resources. and making it very impossible for us to have our own Black Wall Street like we did once before. Um, but that's a whole another story too. But it says here, also, I believe too that has a lot to do with Jim Crow too, to keep Indians, the Aborigines, from having access to resources and land rights, and that's why they kept on saying go back to Africa and all this other stuff, is to try to keep us from remembering who we really are, and prevent it from happening, from us being able to have access to these resources like we're supposed to. And it says here, number 9, the U.S. government, for the most part, selected the pale-skinned Indians, a Hollywood version of Indians, to occupy the U.S. government established by reservations. I agree. They did that, like I said, through Dawes Commission. They also did it through Jim Crow. Jim Crow was a way of suppressing the Aboriginals and allowing Greys to hoard resources that don't belong to them. And then we're going to go over the last one, number 10. The U.S. government selected certain physiological type of Native, aka African Americans, to promote to the world. This is a real Indian, as well as this is how a real Indian looks. And then I agree with the author on that, and I also want to expand upon that. They also did not allow blacks to call themselves Indians, because I spoke to my grandmother, who told Abel. She told me, well, that was the little girl, that they were not allowed to call themselves Indians anymore. And she told me about the laws and everything. There's a book on the Dawes Commission explaining how they did it in detail, exactly how they did it, and the process they went through to make it possible, and they did it through indoctrination, through the school systems. That's why they wanted to get all of the Aboriginal kids in the class so they can brainwash them and tell them that you are not Indian, you are Negro, or you're black, and then punish blacks who continue to call themselves Indian through lynchings, through killings and murdering and everything, which they still doing to this very day. All of this is it's still going on to this very day, and it needs to stop. It really does, until we see that and pinpoint to the root of the cause. It'll still continue. But I can go on and on about this. I really am fascinated with this book, and I'm glad that Thompson is going to share this book too, this outline. And I hope you all enjoyed this video too. So let's see what you all think. Do you all agree with this 100? No, the first 10 of the 105 facts of the Black Indians. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to this? Do you think a lot of this is true? Please let me go back so you all can see me. I would love to hear what you all think about this particular article. I thought it was not really an article; it's a book, actually a small book that goes into more ideas of what the American Aboriginals are all about. And this person, I love how this author explained in their book how his thoughts and theories about the American Aborigines. He said, and he supported it with his family stories and his background. And I was looking at this author here. She's mixed. She's not really a full-blooded Indian, but she says she is, but she's not. You can tell she's mostly Caucasian. She's one of those natives that's very pale, but she did the same thing that this particular author done. Just went into details based on her family tradition and customs. And like I said, I don't see anything wrong with it. And I've seen people getting upset talking about he didn't have references, but I'm going, you got these Native American Indians doing the same thing with their writings, and they don't have references either. They just base it on family tradition. And we should start doing the same. Family tradition is very important and should be passed down. I think they don't want us to pass it down. Because, like I said, there's power in the pen. Power in the pen, you know? There's power in the pen. That's why it's very important to write down your history. Write down, get with your elders and find out what's going on and get the story of what took place in your family. You know, the power, there's power in the pen, power in words. We got to get, if you have a story about your family, put it in a book, share it. That's what my family did. That's how come I know a lot about my family tree on my mom's side. But you just write it down, get that information out, share it down, pass it down from generation to generation, get it out there so the world can know. And that's all they're doing. And that's what we should be doing, because we need to share our stories, our narrative. Our narrative is not being shared, and our narrative is not being told. And that's the problem. And so we're going to make that change. You got to. But this is my website, you guys. Check it out. And I would love to hear from you guys. Love and peace, family. Bye bye.